You might love the green of the forests and the peace they offer, but be careful. Forests are tricky places, full of dangers and spooky things. They're also full of weird noises at night, like howling, creaking, and the sounds of leaves moving. It's enough to make anyone feel a bit nervous. There are stories about people who have gone missing, about strange lights, and about ghosts that wander among the trees. It's easy to get lost, not just on the paths, but in the strange tales that surround these places. We're going to take you through some of the world's most haunted forests and share 5 stories that will give you chills. These stories are about eerie things that make you think twice before you go wandering into the woods. So let's explore these spooky forests and the mysteries they hide. The Bermuda Triangle Forest. The first forest we're going to talk about is in the heart of Romania, that's wrapped in mystery and tales that'll send shivers down your spine. It's called the Hoia Baciu Forest, and some people call it the Bermuda Triangle of Romania because of all the strange things that happened there. Imagine walking into a place where people have vanished into thin air. There's a story about a shepherd who disappeared with his 200 sheep and was never seen again. Then there's the tale of the 5-year-old girl who got lost in the woods and came back 5 years later, looking exactly the same, not a day older. People who visit Hoia Baciu often talk about how it makes them feel super nervous. They say it feels like someone is always watching them, even though they can't see anyone. The forest's own website even warns visitors about these creepy feelings. Because of these scary stories, most locals stay far away from the forest. They're afraid that if they go in, they might get lost and never find their way back. Walking into Hoia Baciu, the air feels different, almost electric. The trees seem to whisper secrets from the past, and every step feels heavier, as if the forest itself doesn't want you there. Some visitors have even seen strange lights that flicker and dance between the trees, with no explanation of where they come from. The deeper you go, the more you feel the silence pressing in on you, broken only by the sound of your own heartbeat. In some parts of the forest, trees grow in weird, twisted shapes that don't look like anything you'd see in a normal forest. Some say it's a gateway to another world, a place where the veil between our world and the unknown is thin. Whether it's the ghostly apparitions, the eerie silence, or the feeling of being watched, one thing is clear. This forest is not like any other place on Earth. It's a puzzle that is yet to be solved. A place full of stories that are as chilling as they are fascinating. So if you ever find yourself in Romania, curious and brave enough to explore the unknown, maybe you'll visit Hoia Baciu. Just remember, the forest might be watching, and some mysteries are better left unsolved. The Forest of Brocéliande. In Brittany, France, there's a special forest called the Forêt de Brocéliande. This isn't just any forest. It's filled with stories about King Arthur and the famous wizard Merlin. Some say Merlin's tomb is somewhere in this forest. But that's not the only thing that makes this place feel a bit spooky. There's a part of the forest called the Val Sans Retour, or the Valley of No Return. Legend has it that Morgan Le Fay, who was King Arthur's half-sister and a powerful sorceress, used to trap young men who were unfaithful to their lovers in this valley. With her magic, she made sure they could never leave. Adding to the forest's mysterious vibe, there was a big fire in 1990 that burned a lot of it. To remember the fire and start fresh, people planted a golden tree at the entrance to the valley a year later. This tree is like a shiny marker that reminds everyone of the fire and the forest stories. For anyone who loves tales of knights and magic, walking through the Forêt de Brocéliande is like stepping into a storybook. You can imagine Merlin and Morgan Le Fay while exploring the forest, especially when you're near Merlin's tomb or the Valley of No Return. Even though it's just a legend, the forest makes you feel like those stories might have been real. Visiting this forest is a way to see a place where people believe legends of the past happened. Every part of the forest, from the trees to the paths, seem to have its own story. It's a place where you can let your imagination run wild and maybe, just for a moment, believe in the magic of old tales. The Smolensk Forest. In Russia, there's a place called the Smolensk Forest that's known for its dark history. Back in 1943, during World War II, German soldiers found something horrifying in this forest. A massive grave with thousands of Polish soldiers buried inside. People say there were around 20,000 soldiers, all ordered to be killed by Joseph Stalin himself. But the forest's sad stories don't end there. In 2010, a terrible plane crash happened in the same forest. This crash wasn't just any accident. It killed 96 people, including many of Poland's leaders, like politicians, military officers, and business folks. This tragedy made the Smolensk Forest even more known as a place of sorrow and loss. With the spirits of so many lost lives hanging in the air, the Smolensk Forest feels like a place where happiness is shadowed by tragedy. Some people are scared to go there because of all the sad and scary things that happened. The forest holds the memories of these events, making it a place that reminds everyone of the past and the many lives that were lost there. Visiting the Smolensk Forest might make you think about history and the stories of the people who never left. It's a reminder of how places can carry the weight of the past, holding stories of both heroism and heartbreak. The forest stands as a silent witness to history, its trees watching over a land filled with secrets and stories waiting to be remembered. Long Trail Forest. In Vermont, USA, there's a hiking trail called the Long Trail, stretching over 438 kilometers. This trail is not just known for its scenic beauty, but also for a series of mysterious disappearances that occurred around the mid-20th century. One of the most notable cases was that of Paula Jean Weldon, a Bennington College student who vanished on December 1st, 1946, while walking on this very trail. But Paula wasn't the only one who disappeared. Between 1945 and 1950, 4 other people also went missing on the Long Trail, and out of these, only one body was ever found. These disappearances have cast a shadow over the Long Trail, with many people saying there's a weird, haunting energy that hangs over it. Some hikers who have walked the trail talk about feeling uneasy or like they're being watched, even when there's no one else around. It's as if the trail itself holds on to the memories of those who disappeared, keeping their stories alive in the whispering winds and rustling leaves. The Schwarzwald Forest. In Germany, there's a forest so dense and dark that it's known as the Schwarzwald, or Black Forest. This place isn't just famous for its thick trees and shadowy paths. It's also the setting for some of the creepiest stories ever written by the Brothers Grimm. But the stories don't stop at fairy tales. According to the legend, the Black Forest is home to some pretty scary creatures like werewolves, witches, and even the devil himself. One of the most chilling legends is about Der Grossmann, which Trip Savvy mentions. Picture this: a tall man so horribly disfigured that just looking at him could make you tremble with fright. He has bulging eyes that see everything, and too many arms to count. The legend says that he would lure children into the forest, making them confess their sins, and then they would vanish, never to be seen again. Walking through the Black Forest, you can almost feel the weight of these stories. Every rustle in the underbrush could be a witch on her broomstick, or maybe the soft footstep of Der Grossmann lurking just out of sight. The forest holds on to its legends tightly, weaving them into the very air and soil, making it a place where the line between story and reality gets a little blurry. Thank you for joining us on this chilling exploration. See you in the next video. Until then, stay safe.